It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What's God? What's God? What's God? These guys know sports. Yeah. These guys know sports. These guys know.
And welcome to Wise Guys. These guys know sports here on this Wednesday, September the 23rd, live on the Worldwide Sports Network with my co-host, Mr. Clarence Nixon. What's up, Clarence?
How you doing, Trey? Welcome to Wise Guys, sir.
How is your hump day treating you, sir? How you doing today?
Think I'm doing fine. Went grocery shopping again on hump day, and we about to eat good after the show. We about to enjoy some food and watch some movies. So it's Hulu and chill after this.
Hulu and chill, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You just switched it from Netflix and chill to Hulu and chill. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, Team Hulu.
Yes, sir. We got an action jam-packed show ahead for everyone. We're going to preview Thursday night football matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, later on in the show, we're going to talk about the NFL coaches who are struggling. Adam Gase, Dan Quinn, Matt Patricia. Which coach do you think deserves to be fired first? So we're talking about NFL coaches that are on the hot seat. Also, we're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams have started off the season 0-2. We're going to talk about which team has the best chance to turn their season around. Clarence, we got to begin in the NBA, though, in the association. Yep. As last night in the Western Conference Finals, the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers 114-106. The Lakers now lead the series 2-1. Anthony Davis led the way for the Lakers with 27 points, 2 rebounds. LeBron had 30 points, 11 assists. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray had 28 points, 12 assists. Nikola Jokic chipped in with 22 points, shot 9 of 14 from the floor. So, Clarence, first question here is, how impressive, was this win for the Denver Nuggets?
I think this was a must-win for the Denver Nuggets so they can get back into this series. And they needed this W more than the Lakers in Game 3 because they knew if they went down 3-0, the odds was very against them, more likely against them. So they had to make a stand that they still into this series and it's still gonna be a long series. And believe it or not, if they go down 3-1, it's gonna be if they do go down like 3-1, it'd be interesting to see can they actually come back from 3-1 against this Los Angeles Lakers team. But winning Game 3 was important. It was important because Jamal Murray performed at the high level. I was so excited for him just watching his game. Like he was on fire. It's like this sense in his mind when his team is down, he step up to the plate and deliver for him. He's scoring for him back to back. And believe it or not, their big man Nikola Jokic is balancing out the team, being a facilitator and a scorer and a rebounder. So them two right there, they just dominating for the Denver Nuggets. And I seen that Jeremy Grant, he had 26 points yesterday. He hit a lot of clutch shots for them. And he actually played some good defense, even though regardless, LeBron hit him with the jab step twice in the same spot. It was hilarious though. But Jeremy Grant, he was poised to guard him. He felt like he had the advantage because he was longer than tall, and he's slimmer enough. And I believe it or not, I think that was a good defense by him though, because it fits perfect. Like when he's guarding LeBron, he's long, he's strong, and he's fast off his feet. So that was a good defensive pair. But he came and performed at 26 points and shot a couple threes and made a good basket and hit free throws at the line. So he definitely played a good part in this Denver Nuggets win. But I was very excited for this win, Trey.
Yeah, I was impressed with the Nuggets as well last night, winning this game in the fashion that they wanted, Clarence. Jamal Murray, he led the way for the Nuggets. What do you have? 28 points, shot 10 of 17 from the floor. He went 4 of 8 from three-point range, so he shot 50%, he was very efficient. Nikola Jokic did a great job as well. He had 22 points, but he also was very efficient shooting 9 of 14 from the floor. But you talked about Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant did a great job, and he was the reliable third scoring option for the Denver Nuggets. He had 26 points, 7 of 11 from the field. He went 2 of 5 from 3-point range, and he also had three rebounds. That ain't that great, but he still helped defensively. For the Denver Nuggets. So I was very impressed with this win. A game that they really, really needed. I also felt like as I watched the game, though, the Lakers didn't take this game very serious, Clarence. I think in the beginning stages of this game, the Lakers, they didn't really want to play. They didn't really show up. I think they know that they are in control of this series. I think they know that they are the superior team. And I think they took the Denver Nuggets for granted last night in game 3. And I think in the early stages of that game, that's why you saw Denver take over the way that they did, because I think LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they were lackadaisical on defense. They just was kind of just going through the motions. And here's the thing. Late in that game, the Lakers still had a chance to win that game. The Nuggets only ended up winning by 8 points. So it wasn't no blowout, because in the first half, the Nuggets led throughout the entire first half. And in the third quarter, the Nuggets, I think, were up at one point by like 20 points. But then as the quarter went along and we got to the start of the fourth quarter, the Lakers got back into the game because they started taking the game more seriously and they started amping up their defense. So I think when you look at this game in game 3, I think the Lakers didn't start off well, and the Nuggets took advantage of it, and that's why they ultimately won game 3 in the end.
And then believe it or not, Michael Porter, he spoke on how the Nuggets team is really playing through Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. If you're going to speak on something, you need to back it up, because you only had like nine points to show last night. Regardless that they won yesterday, if you're going to speak on something, you need to back it up and basically have a plan B. But this Lakers team, though, AD, I was disgraced for his performance. 2 rebounds in the game. Like you said, and then they got out rebound 44-25. They only had like 25 rebounds. JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, they only had 1 rebound against each other. LeBron was the leading rebounder. Not saying that's the problem for LeBron, but where's your rebounders? Where's your big man? I definitely agree with you right there. I think they know they're in full control of this series, because this is one of those games that they thought they was gonna get them done, beat them in game 3, but the Denver fought back and took over for them. But the Lakers, I think it was an off game. It was an off game for them because they wasn't there mentally. All the shots that everybody took, LeBron all of a sudden got a triple double. AD, he still put up 27 points, but only 2 rebounds. They're them 2 players, they even take a lot of shots, honestly. I'm looking at their chart right now. AD only took 17 shots.
Yeah.
And I think Brown would have took 25, 26 shots. That right there, that's right. That's not them. I think they wasn't there mentally, though, Trey.
I think also when you look at this game, the game was won, at the 3-point line for the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets shot 38% from 3-point range. The Lakers only shot 23% from 3-point range. I think the Lakers went 6 of 26 from 3-point range. So they wasn't very good at shooting the 3. And that's where the Nuggets actually played, pretty well. The Nuggets in this game, what they go, 11 of 29 from 3-point range. So they went 38% from the 3. Jamal Murray, he hit 4 threes. Grant hit 2 threes. The Joker, he only hit 1 3. Morris, hold on. I'm looking at the right. Oh, I'm sorry. Morris, he hit 2 threes off their bench. So the Nuggets hit the 3-point shot, and I think that's where the game was won for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
But let's go on to the next question of this segment. Do you believe the Nuggets can steal another game?
I think the only way they can steal another game, though, Trey, all honestly, Jamal Murray has to go for 50 points. In order for them to win that game, they have to keep putting up points on the board, and then keep running with the Lakers team. And they got to find defensive matchups. I already spoke on one with Jeremy Grant and LeBron James. They haven't found another matchup to slow down Anthony Davis and the big man, even Rajon Rondo, because he's been effective for them as well. And I think for Jamal Murray, this is the moment for him to light up the team and basically put on another stellar performance because he had two 50-point games and 3 40-point games already in this playoffs. I think you should keep it going, keep it motive going, and try to score as much. And for Jokic, I think at this moment right here, if you see him putting up that tons of points, you have to follow up behind, like be the point guard of the team, because at that moment for him, he's looking to score. He's looking to score, and he's getting back on defense. I think that Jamal Murray needs to score at least 40 points to steal another game.
Yeah, I to answer the question, do I believe the Nuggets can steal another game? I say no. I picked the Lakers. I picked the Lakers in 5, and after I saw the Nuggets blow game 2, I said it's a good chance they're going to get swept. Mike Malone and his group, give them credit. They proved me wrong. They did win a game in this season, so it will be a gentleman's sweep in my opinion, Clarence. I think the Lakers are going to take the Nuggets serious in game 4 because they know if they give this Nuggets team any life, that this Nuggets team will take advantage of it, because we saw it happen against the Clippers in the second round. We saw it happen against the Utah Jazz in the first round. They became the first team in NBA history to come back from back-to-back 3-1 deficit. So this different Nuggets team, they're a resilient team. And I think LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they know this. And right now in the Lakers locker room, they are telling everyone, hey, tomorrow game 4, we need to win game 4 and take a commanding 3-1 lead over the Denver Nuggets. And I guarantee you, though, even if the Lakers win game 4, which I expect them to do, I think game 5 is going to be very, very competitive. Even
crucial.
Even if the Nuggets lose tomorrow and they down 3-1, the Lakers, when they beat the Nuggets in game 5, it's going to be competitive. They're not going to blow this Nuggets team out. Make no mistake about it. I hope you don't think they're going to blow the Nuggets out. The Nuggets are going to play, and the Lakers going to have to beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets are not going to beat themselves.
But believe it or not, I think if they lose game 4 on
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. They lose game 4 tomorrow and they're down 3-1. I believe it's going to give them some motivation to think they're back in this series, but where honestly we think they're not back in this series. I don't believe they're back in this series if they go down 3-1 in the conference finals against LeBron James and that Lakers team. But it will give them confidence, in my opinion. I think it'll give them more confidence. They'll probably play more harder, and it's gonna be more crucial. But I think LA, they figure them out. Now they're here mental, and they're gonna show up tomorrow in game 4. But the one thing they gotta work on is not work on, but get it together, clean it up. You got to rebound. They only had 34 rebounds last night.
Yeah,
the Nuggets had 53 rebounds. Usually the Lakers is a top 5 team in rebounds. Like that has to change right there. They have to rebound and get back on defense and score in transition.
Yeah, I agree with you about that, because when you got bigs like JaVale McGee, like Dwight Howard, like Anthony Davis, there ain't no reason in hell that you should be getting out rebounded by almost 20. They almost got out rebounded by 20 rebounds last night. They got out rebounded by 19. So the Nuggets were plus 19 in the rebounding department. That's not good. I expect that to change in game 4. Any adjustments the Lakers need to make in game 4?
I think the adjustments that they need to make, Danny Green, is either you're going to start him or you're not. And believe me, I say that because, like, I get why they start him because he's a good defender. But on the offensive side, he's not giving you nothing, man. He's not giving you enough shots that you need. Like, in Toronto, he shot over 50%. And in the playoffs, shooting threes. I'm like, wow, that Danny Green's on fire. I need more from him. Because he's one of the X factors on the team. Because that's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shot more threes than him in this playoffs. And we've been knowing Danny Green is a 3-and-D type of player, and he's a good 3-point shooter. You need more from him though. And I know the Lakers, they in the driver's seat in this series. I know that. We both know that. But if you want to clean up some of the problems, Danny Green has to shoot the ball. He has to shoot the ball better.
Yeah, I agree with you about Danny Green. Also, I want to give KCP some credit because for the most part in this Western Conference Finals, KCP has shot the ball well. I mean, in game 3 yesterday, he went 5 of 8 from the floor, shot 2 of 5 from 3-point range. He had 12 points. You remember in round 1 against my Blazers in game 1, you remember he had a triple single. He had like 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist. I've never seen anything like it. But I got to give KCP a lot of credit because he has stepped up and hit shots for the Lakers in this playoffs. And he's done a great job when LeBron or Anthony Davis kicks him the basketball at hitting his perimeter shots at a consistent rate. For me, any adjustments that the Lakers need to make heading into Game 4, I think they need to do a better job of getting out to a better start and putting more effort into the first quarter and not being down, on the scoreboard. The Nuggets won the first quarter by only 2 points, but you could tell watching the game that the Nuggets were just more motivated and they had more energy than the Lakers in Game 3. Yeah, you could tell the Nuggets wanted it more. I think for the Lakers, head coach Frank Vogel, he needs to be letting his team know we don't need to give this Denver Nuggets team any life, because if you give this Denver Nuggets team life, they will capitalize on it. And I can tell you right now, Clarence, if the Nuggets steal Game 4 and we heading into a Game 5 and it's tied 2 games apiece, we both have the Lakers favored heavily. But the pressure is going to mount on LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers if this series gets tied at 2 games apiece. The Lakers got to win tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night, Game 4 is a must-win for the Lakers. I expect LeBron and Anthony Davis to take care of business. Otherwise, when we come back on Friday on Wise Guys, on our show, we're going to be having a different conversation about this Western Conference Finals.
Definitely. You is not lying about that, my friend.
Like, for sure. But let's move on. Let's go to the NFL. And let's talk about these NFL coaches that are on the hot seat. Dan Quinn, his Atlanta Falcons are 0-2. Adam Gase, his New York Jets, 0-2. Matt Patricia, his Detroit Lions, 0-2 on the season. So a simple question here, Clarence. Which NFL coach between these 3 head coaches deserves to be fired first?
It's crazy because this is difficult though. That was a good question. This is a great discussion that we about to have with this, because right here, I was just thinking all day, which coach should be fired first? Because you have Adam Gase that's not doing a great job of developing Sam Darnold as he's supposed to be. He's a first round pick. You have Dan Quinn that ever since the Super Bowl, they're still hung over from that, and they ain't make the postseason like in 3 years. And you have the Detroit Lions, which his players love about him. They love about him is the charisma that he brings into the locker room. He excuse me. He's one of those players, coaches that care for you and want to do better. He have great conversations individually with all of them, and they say he brings so much positive energy in there. But some of them has a few questions. I mean, like they question his lack of leadership at times. But we can get into that some other day. But I think the coach that should be fired first, though, Trey, that should be fired first. And I'm gonna just be honest with you, it ain't Adam Gase. I don't think it's Adam Gase. I think at this point though, when you still have elite quarterbacks, elite players on your team though, you have to find a coach that can mold them in and still keep them on the right path. I think the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Quinn should go, in my opinion. I think he should leave because for the simple fact that the Falcons was a playoff team. They was competitive, and they had a consistent. They have an elite quarterback in Matt Ryan, elite receiver in Julio Jones, which this season he's not even healthy for real. He's not being reliable, and they had to roll with Calvin Ridley. But the thing is, the defense scares me. The defense scares me a lot, and I see a lot of potential in their rookie Terrell over there on the corner. He's done a great job. He actually one of the best top corner that was rated with a less pass completion with 34%. I think that's great, but for Dan Quinn not trying to find another answer for it, I think he's more on the hot seat. Now, I didn't say Adam Gase because I'm actually riding the train that Trevor Lawrence should come to New York Jets. And I think if Adam Gase get a quarterback like that, he would know what to do with him. Because remember, think about it. Tannehill was a dual threat in Miami. He had some success with him. I think when you get a younger quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, he go find something. He go find the identity in the Jets organization. But my answer, I'm definitely rolling with Dan Quinn. Matt Patricia, they see him as like their top leaders. And if he still have Matthew Stafford, he's not going anywhere. But Dan Quinn, it's been unacceptable I think he should go.
I disagree with you. I think the answer here is Adam Gase, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. And I'm not a believer in Adam Gase. I don't believe Adam Gase deserved the Jets job to begin with, Clarence, because when he was in Miami as Miami head coach, he went 23-25, won 47% of his games. I think he got the Dolphins to the playoffs maybe 1 year, but that Dolphins team never competed in the AFC East. They got completely dominated by Tom Brady and Bill Belichick multiple years in the AFC East. And now Adam Gase, somehow, some way, he gets a job with the New York Jets, a job I don't even think he really deserved to get to begin with. And when he had his press conference, Clarence, he was high at his press conference. Did you see that man at that press conference? Did you see him? He was high. Like he was high. Yes, he was on something. Like it was not normal. I think Adam Gase deserves to be fired, even more so than Dan Quinn. I'm going to get to Dan Quinn here in a minute. But when it comes to Adam Gase, so far since he's been with the New York Football Jets, he's 7-11. So he doesn't even have a winning percentage as head coach of the Jets. Since Le'Veon Bell has arrived with the New York Jets, Le'Veon Bell is irrelevant now. When Le'Veon Bell was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I thought Le'Veon Bell was the best running back in the NFL. Since he's been with the New York Jets, all of a sudden, Le'Veon Bell can't play football no more? Le'Veon Bell's one of the best running backs we have in the NFL. He doesn't like playing for Adam Gase. We saw Jamal Adams. He wanted out of New York. I wonder why. Oh, because Adam Gase is the head coach. I think Adam Gase doesn't know how to lead men. He doesn't know how to lead his team to wins overall. I think he got this job, because he know people in that Jets organization. I don't think he necessarily got the job because of his credentials and what he's accomplished. I think Adam Gase should be fired. And Dan Quinn, although he has come up small for the Atlanta Falcons when they've had big leads in games, at least Dan Quinn has a Super Bowl appearance on his resume. At least Dan Quinn has gotten the Atlanta Falcons to the playoffs in his career, so far. At least Dan Quinn has led a quarterback like Matt Ryan to an MVP award. Dan Quinn, although I think he deserves to be fired, I think Dan Quinn has led this Atlanta Falcons team to the playoffs, and they've had some success. Therefore, I think Dan Quinn, although he needs to be fired, I think Adam Gase needs to be fired before even Dan Quinn.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the wild card of this situation, in my opinion, that Dan Quinn's situation is different from I will say Matt Patricia and Adam Gase. I feel like for those organizations, they're still finding players so they can build around, so they can build a football team. So in their at perspective, they're losing now to win later. But for Dan Quinn's side, that he's been consistent. He's been consistent of winning since he took over the head coaching gig. He helped led the Falcons to the Super Bowl, but ever since the Super Bowl, he had no success years later. Now it's like he ain't make the playoffs in 3 years straight. He made the playoffs 3 straight years. And Arthur Blank, he spoke on Dan Quinn is safe, but in reality, is he really? Like that right there? Oh, excuse me. I don't know why. All I'm saying is basically like you built something in Atlanta, you took it to the promised land, you blew the lead, and then after that Super Bowl, what happened then? I mean, you made it to the first round. After the next round, y'all got booted out, and then after that 3 straight losing seasons. How you can have a losing season with all that talent on that team?
No, I understand that. But see, here's the thing. At least Dan Quinn got to a Super Bowl. Adam Gase hasn't shown an ability to consistently get his team to the playoffs. And here's the thing. You think Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback, right? You think this is what you said.
He's playing well this year. He's doing good in these 2 games.
Is Ryan Tannehill an elite quarterback? Yes or no? He's not elite, but you say he is. Okay, so if Ryan Tannehill is elite as you think he is, like if he's elite like you say he is, right? Wouldn't Adam Gase have gotten the Miami Dolphins to the playoffs more than 1 year while he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins? He only got the Miami Dolphins to the playoffs 1 year. He was only there 3 years. He only got them to the playoffs 1 year. If Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback, you would think Adam Gase and Ryan Tannehill could get the Miami Dolphins to the playoffs. They didn't get to the playoffs because they had an incompetent coach. Adam Gase is an incompetent coach. Okay, we are starting to see a pattern of players who don't like playing for Adam Gase. Like I said, Jamal Adams got traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties we have in the National Football League. And all of a sudden, he wanted out of New York. Now, New York, the Jets always have been a bad franchise for the most part. I mean, they had a few years where they got to the playoffs under Rex Ryan, and they made some noise with Mark Sanchez and Braylon Edwards and, on that team. And my man Bart Scott, I don't know if you remember Bart Scott.
Can't wait.
Remember Bart Scott after they beat the Patriots when he had that press conference with Sal Palantonio? Can't wait. That was hilarious, man.
And Chad was trolling him one time.
Yeah, but that New York Jets team hasn't really that franchise hasn't really been a good franchise. But I just think they're not being led by the right man, and I think Adam Gase needs to be fired. At least with Dan Quinn, he's had some success and led his team to a Super Bowl, and they've gotten to the playoffs multiple years under his stewardship. I just think Adam Gase, you're not going anywhere with him. Now, when it comes to Matt Patricia, the funny thing about Matt Patricia is I think Matt Patricia has a talented quarterback in Matthew Stafford. I don't know why.
Is he elite?
Who? Matthew Stafford?
Yeah.
I think when Matthew Stafford is healthy, I think he is a tier below elite. I don't think
that makes sense.
I don't think he deserves to be in that Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. I don't think he deserves to be in that tier, but I think he's a tier below when he's healthy. I've seen Matthew Stafford play very well for the Detroit Lions. Yes, I think I've seen him, play at a high level for the Lions. It's just he can't stay healthy. That's the problem with Matthew Stafford. The issue that I have with Matt Patricia is I've heard some players, they've had some issues with his coaching style. He hasn't done a great job at being able to relate to his players. That's one of the things that you have to do when you're a head coach in the NFL, Clarence. It's not always about X's and O's. It's not always about what kind of scheme you can, put together for your team to be successful. It's also about, can you develop relationships with your players to where your players want to play for you? That's one of the things that I always say about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin does a great job at building relationships with his players. You notice players never have anything negative to say about Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin is a player's coach. He knows his football as well. He knows how to scheme up a defense to get stops. He's a great coach, but these coaches have to do a better job at developing relationships with their players. I think that's where Matt Patricia has struggled so far in his coaching career. I think sometimes when these coaches come from that Bill Belichick tree, they try to coach like Belichick. They try to coach like Belichick. You can't coach like Bill Belichick. You have to develop your own coaching style. A lot of coaches that come from that Bill Belichick tree, they don't coach well when they lead their teams. Do you notice that?
I agree. I don't
know.
Like Joe Judge for the New York Giants, he's in question right now because you lost your star running back in Saquon Barkley. You signed Devontae Freeman. You want to see how they're going to maneuver now, and they ain't been putting up a lot of points so far in this season.
They haven't. I agree with you, and I told you even in the offseason, I had questions about whether or not Joe Judge even deserved the job because I didn't like the fact that Eric Bieniemy didn't get a job from Kansas City, the offensive coordinator.
Right.
It's so hard to pronounce his last name, but I'm gonna just say Eric. Eric deserves a head coaching job. Eric was the offensive coordinator for the best offense in the NFL. I
agree.
I know Andy Reid is a legendary head coach. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame one day. I know Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback himself. I know they got a ton of weapons offensively. You got one of the best tight ends in the NFL in Travis Kelce. You got one of the best wide receivers in Tyreek Hill. They have a great system in Kansas City. I think Eric deserves some of that credit that team has accomplished. I think he deserves a head coaching job. And I didn't like the fact that Joe Judge got a head coaching job over Eric. I didn't like the fact that Matt Rule, he came from the collegiate level, Clarence. He got a job with the Carolina Panthers over Eric Bieniemy. So it just made no sense to me why he didn't get a job.
So let me ask you this. Yeah, that's crazy, though. I wanted him to come for the Bengals. He would have came to the Bengals. I would have been ecstatic. Now, I would have been ecstatic. Him and Joe Burrow, and he basically been behind Patrick Mahomes. Like, yeah, I would have been like, yeah, Yeah, we got Patrick Mahomes' secret weapon, Trey.
Yeah.
But
I think one more thing I want to say. I think sometimes these black coaches, they get a bad rap, Clarence. I think sometimes these NFL owners, they don't give these black coaches the opportunities that they give some of the white coaches. I'm not saying this race involved or none of that. I'm just saying that there are people that, you know, they prefer certain other individuals over other individuals. So I think that's why they give those white coaches the edge over the black coaches. I'm not accusing nobody of being racist, but it's awfully funny. Some of these coaches in the NFL, you know, they're not getting their opportunities to coach these teams. And there are coaches that are in college that are white that come straight to the NFL and get coaching jobs. Cliff Kingsbury, he got the job with the Arizona Cardinals. I didn't think Cliff Kingsbury deserved that Arizona Cardinals job. Honestly, I don't think he deserved that job with the Arizona Cardinals. I thought you could have looked at, you know, it's a ton of other coaches you could have looked at. Like, you could have looked at Eric Bieniemy. You could have looked at Marvin Lewis. Like, Marvin Lewis, when he was with the Bengals, he wasn't a bad coach. He wasn't a bad coach. Like,
he has some parts in it that was bad, though. Like, in second half adjustments, that was something bad.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but for the most part, Marvin Lewis had success as a coach.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, let me ask you this, though, Trey. So, who do you believe to have the best chance to win their game on Saturday? And let me tell you this. Let me tell you the teams that they play. Dan Quinn and them, they at home against the Chicago Bears. The Jets. The Jets on the road is on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. And the Detroit Lions, they is on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Who do you think got the best chance to win their game?
I would say that the Atlanta Falcons got the best chance to win their game because they're going up against Mitchell Trubisky. And I know Mitchell Trubisky has been playing well so far this season, but we know Mitchell Trubisky is inconsistent. And I still don't trust Mitchell Trubisky to throw the ball down the field accurately for the Chicago Bears. I'm not sold on that Chicago Bears offense. I'm not sold on Mitchell Trubisky as a whole. I think the Atlanta Falcons, you can make a legitimate argument that they really should be 1-1 on the season. They choked away that lead against the Dallas Cowboys last week. They created 4 turnovers. They put up 39 points, you know, on the scoreboard. I think the Falcons have the best chance to win their Week 3 matchup going up against an inconsistent quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. So I'll say Atlanta over the Jets and the Lions.
See, I probably have to agree with you on there because I don't feel safe with Adam Gase on the road because even though he doesn't have a good road record, not a successful road record, I don't trust him there. And Lions and Cardinals, like last year, it was Kyler Murray rookie year. They ended it with a tie. But this year is different. He got DeAndre Hopkins, and he's on fire. I think that game might get ugly out of all of these three. But I think the Falcons do have the best chance because you question Mitchell Trubisky's leadership and consistency, and something that he been having a problem with already in his career. So I think I think the Falcons got the best chance to win their game.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so the Jets go on the road to play the Colts. I think the Colts coming off their victory over the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday, I think they're going to carry that momentum, you know, into Sunday's matchup against the Jets. I think Phillip Rivers is actually playing well right now for the Colts, and he's really impressed me these first 2 weeks, Clarence, because we know Phillip Rivers last year he was a turnover machine. He had 20 interceptions last year for the Chargers, and he was just he honestly was also a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year honors along with Jameis Winston because Phillip Rivers threw a lot of interceptions last year. And overall, though, I just think the Atlanta Falcons have the best chance, you know, to win their Week 3 matchup. But again, I think when you talk about these 3 coaches, I think Adam Gase is a coach that needs to go immediately. Like, I do not believe Adam Gase whatsoever. Like, I really, really don't. Like, I really don't. I think it's a good chance. I think it's a good chance the Jets are going to start off the season 0-3, and the Lions as well. The Lions, they're going to start off 0-3 as well. I don't think they're going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, I told you before the season, the Arizona Cardinals are a team that we got to keep an eye on. We got to have them on our wise guys radar this season, Clarence, because they are playing great football. They got a nice receiving core now with DeAndre Hopkins, the number 1 receiver. We know Larry Fitzgerald can still contribute. You know, although he's a veteran, he still can contribute, you know, on your team. You got Kyler Murray, an up-and-coming quarterback in the NFL. I think Kyler Murray has a chance to be a star at some point. Like, I really, really, when I watch Kyler Murray play, I see a young Russell Wilson. I really, really do. And he's only going to get better. Like, I just look at the Arizona Cardinals right now as a team that's going to be competing in the NFC West. The NFC West is going to be a tough division this year, Clarence. Like, the Rams are playing well. Jared Goff, he's putting the Rams, in a position to be successful. The Rams are 2-0 in the season. Jared Goff is playing like he did when he led the Rams to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And we know, the Arizona Cardinals, they 2-0. The Seahawks, they 2-0 right now. Russell Wilson is leading the NFL in MVP. I think right now, if there was an early season MVP, I think it would be Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers probably number 2, but I think Russell Wilson will be number 1. We know the 49ers still got an elite defense. NFC West is going to be a tough division all season long.
Yeah, and back to what you're saying about Kyler Murray, he's been phenomenal, and he's been leading his team. Cliff Kingsbury gave him the playbook and was just like, hey man, just do whatever you want, man. Believe it or not, Kingsbury let this man audible it. Like if they say he got like 2 aspects of a problem. If he does it right, he'll tell him, hey, that was good. If he does it wrong, he'll be like, you know what you did wrong. So it's like they got like this connection, like this bad boys connection.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at their schedule right in October. This is going to be a tough October for them because the Panthers and Jets they're favorable in those games. You're on the road against the Cowboys, and you come back home against Seattle. Them 2 games right there is going to be a key factor in Kyler Murray because he actually is ranked 27th when pressure is coming at him. So and the Seahawks they forced like 4 turnovers on him in the last 2 meetings they played against each other. The Dolphins and Bills, that game right there will determine like can they stay healthy? Is there a mid-season form? But I'm so excited watching Kyler Murray play though, Trey. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is definitely playing some good football. Let's move on. Let's talk about these NFL winless teams. The Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles are both off to rough starts in this 2020 NFL season. They both are 0-2 on the season. So the question here is, Clarence, which 0-2 team has the best chance to turn their season around and make the playoffs? The Minnesota Vikings or the Philadelphia Eagles? Who you got?
Look, man, I'm just looking through their schedule, man. I'm looking through the Vikings schedule, and they just don't have it easily, man. Because you come back home against the Tennessee Titans with an elite quarterback leading them, Ryan Tannehill, and elite running back Derrick Henry, and then you're back on the road for 2 straight games in Minnesota and in Houston, and then Sunday night against the Seahawks. So you're going to see the favorable MVP right there again. So I just think, that first 3 stretch right there, it's tough. It's tough right there because they got a young defense. And last week of Kirk Cousins' performance, he threw 3 interceptions, and it was bad. It was bad. I think him and Adam Thielen, they have to get on board building that chemistry. And Justin Jefferson, you have to get him some snaps involved. You draft him in the first round for a reason. He's there to replace Stephon Diggs. I'm not trying to throw a big expectation on him, but at some point in the season, though, Trey, he has to break out. He has to show something. He's a great run after the catch and something that he's Kirk Cousins familiar with when he had Stephon Diggs. So I believe they need to get him in motion right here. And I'm just looking at it right now. They got Green Bay. I mean, they got the Falcons and the Packers. I think the only break they have when they play against the Lions because that team is they're favorable to beat. I don't even trust them when they go to Houston when they play the Texans. So if I had to pick, if I really had to pick though, if all honestly, I think I would say the Eagles, regardless of their injuries. But the schedule for them, it's not that bad. They got my Bengals on Sunday, which I expect them to perform well enough to beat this Eagles team. But I'm gonna save all that for Friday because I don't want to get all mess my juice up. But this Eagles team schedule is very competitive. And they can win. They can win these games. I mean, after the Bengals game, they Sunday night against the 49ers. That might be a win for them because we don't know if Jimmy G is going to be back. Nick Bosa's out for the year, so they can actually steal one there. And Pittsburgh, no, they're not beating Pittsburgh. Ravens, no. Giants, yeah. So they have a better chance of winning a game before the Vikings. So if I had to pick, I'm picking the Eagles.
Okay, when you look at these two teams right now, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings, these two teams have one thing in common. That is inconsistent quarterback play. So far in the season, Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz, they have both been pathetic. Let's call it what it is, Clarence. They have both been pathetic, and they should be ashamed to show their faces in the city of Philadelphia and the city of Minnesota. Like, really, they really should. Like, it's been that bad for these two quarterbacks. I'm going to give you some of these statistical numbers from Carson Wentz and Kirk Cousins. Carson Wentz, right now, his completion percentage, he's tied for 29th with, guess who? Kirk Cousins. Carson Wentz, his interception percentage, he is 32nd in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is 33rd. Total QBR, Carson Wentz, 32nd in the NFL. Kirk Cousins, 31st in the NFL. Right now, when I look at these two quarterbacks, they are god-awful. Let me start with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, in that Sunday game against the Indianapolis Colts, he went 11 of 26, 113 passing yards. He had 3 interceptions. He was terrible, okay? He was terrible, and Dalvin Cook didn't help out much either. He only has 63 rushing yards, 14 carries. I think Dalvin Cook, he's been, stopped this year. He hasn't really played well so far this season, and that's part of the reason why Kirk Cousins is struggling. I also believe the Minnesota Vikings right now, they are missing Stephon Diggs. Like, it's obvious when you watch these games, the only receiver that Kirk Cousins trusts is Adam Thielen. He's the only receiver that Kirk Cousins trusts. These other receivers on their team, like Justin Jefferson, Johnson, Ivy Smith Jr., he don't trust these other receivers on their team. When they had Stephon Diggs and they had him teamed up with Adam Thielen, although I don't think Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are true number ones like Devontae Adams, like Julio Jones, like Mike Evans, or like Odell Beckham, I believe Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are solid number twos, and I thought they did a great job as a wide receiver duo making plays for Kirk Cousins and that Minnesota Vikings offense. I think right now Kirk Cousins, he is relying on Adam Thielen too much, and I think another receiver in this offense has to step up in order for the Minnesota Vikings to have any chance at competing in the NFC North with my Packers and competing for a playoff spot. But it hasn't happened so far, in this season. Now, let me get to the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. Listen, Carson Wentz against the Rams, where did he go? Let me pull these numbers up. Carson Wentz, he went 26 of 43, threw for 242 passing yards, no touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions. So, once again, Carson Wentz has a game, Clarence, where he has multiple turnovers. You remember in week 1 against the Washington football team, Carson Wentz had multiple turnovers in that game. And that was also a game where the Philadelphia Eagles had the lead. They had the lead in week 1 against the Washington football team. The Washington football team, they are supposed to finish last in the NFC East. They are projected to pick in the top 5 in the NFL draft this year. This is a draft in a year where the Washington football team are rebuilding, okay? And the Minnesota and the Philadelphia Eagles lost a double-digit lead to the Washington football team because of their quarterback, Carson Wentz. And last year, because of all the injuries and how depleted they were offensively, I gave Carson Wentz a pass. I said he's playing with house money, and the fact that he has the Eagles in a position to compete for a playoff spot and possibly win the NFC East, this is a great accomplishment by Carson Wentz. This year, Clarence, there are no excuses for Mr. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz this year, he has Deshaun Jackson. He has Zach Ertz. He has Jalen Reagor. He has, Miles Sanders. He has weapons to throw the ball to. He's turning the football over. If Carson Wentz doesn't get his act together, we may see Jalen Hurts at some point in the lineup for the Philadelphia Eagles, Clarence. They picked Jalen Hurts this year in the draft. They didn't pick Jalen Hurts because they expect him to sit on the bench. They picked Jalen Hurts because they believe that Carson Wentz, A, can't stay healthy. And now you're not even playing at an elite level? Oh, Carson Wentz, he's been put on notice by Doug Peterson and this Philadelphia Eagles organization. If you don't play well, Jalen Hurts will be inserted in the starting lineup. I expect Carson Wentz to get his act together. Therefore, when I answer this question, which 0-2 team between the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles has the best chance to turn their season around, I would say the Philadelphia Eagles, because Carson Wentz, when he's healthy and when he's protecting the football, I think he's an elite quarterback, and I think he's better than Kirk Cousins overall. I got Eagles over Vikings when it comes to this question.
But the thing is, though, Trey, their schedules though is very tough. The scheduling is very. They have some tough schedules coming up, and if the Vikings get the consistency back on track, they can still win in Houston, because Houston having problems of themselves. They're 0-2 as well. And
yeah,
when I'm watching the Vikings though, I feel like they don't get Dalvin Cook more involved than anything. I think you have to get him in like a groove so he can balance out their team. And so much you don't have to rely on Adam Thielen. And they have another attacker, not attacker, but they have another target too, in Irv Smith. Irv Smith, the tight end, he's very young, and he's the future for them too as well. You got to get him more involved too. I think for Kirk Cousins, he has to just relax and just play his game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when I look at these two teams, right now the Minnesota Vikings, they are struggling defensively. Like, this is not the Mike Zimmer Minnesota Vikings, of old. Those Minnesota Vikings teams in years prior, Clarence, they always hung their hat on defense. When they had Everson Griffin and when they had Xavier Rhodes, they always hung their hat on defense. So far this season, the Minnesota Vikings defense hasn't been the same as been in previous years. Like, it hasn't been the same. And I just think right now, the way my Packers is playing, we 2-0 in the season. We got a big-time matchup against Drew Brees in the Big Easy this weekend on Sunday Night Football that I'm excited about. But guess what? We go 3-0 this year, and Minnesota lose this week. The race in the NFC North, we can really, really separate ourselves from the Minnesota Vikings, and that could get away from Minnesota. Minnesota better get their act together in the NFC North if they want to have any chance of competing, for the division and even competing for a playoff spot. When it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles are in a terrible division. So I believe the Philadelphia Eagles have a better chance of turning around also because they're in a bad division. The NFC East is the worst division in pro football. We just saw the New York Giants lost Saquon Barkley for the season. So I don't think the New York Giants are going to be competitive this year. The Washington football team just got beat down by Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals 2-2. And they're rebuilding this year. They don't have many expectations. And then the Dallas Cowboys, they're inconsistent. They were supposed to lose last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, Dallas Cowboys should be 0-2, just like the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles, because they are in the weaker division, that's also why I give them the advantage over the Minnesota Vikings as to why they can turn their season around this year.
So let me ask you this, though. I know this is going to be a tricky question. Who would you trust? Who you trust more? Which quarterback you trust more than? Carson Wentz or Kirk Cousins?
Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Again, Carson Wentz's issue is protecting the football. He has to do a better job of protecting the football. If nothing else, do not continue to turn the ball over and put your defense in bad situations because you can't protect the football. Carson Wentz, you're better than this, Carson. What are you doing? Okay, all year long last year, here I am arguing with you about why Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott, and Carson Wentz this year has been completely pathetic. He's been terrible. Like, Carson Wentz has to play better. I think Carson Wentz, at his peak, he's better than Kirk Cousins. I look at Kirk Cousins as being a game manager. I really, really do. I look at Carson Wentz as the kind of quarterback that can carry your team to a playoff appearance. He can carry your team in the playoffs and make plays. He just hasn't done it yet, and this is part of the reason why you remember after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, a lot of people felt like the Eagles should have kept Nick Foles. They said they need to keep Nick Foles on that team, and they need to build around Nick Foles. It's because Carson Wentz is inconsistent at times, but also he has injury issues. So you can't have injury issues and inconsistent play. Okay, if you're going to have injury issues, you damn sure better perform when you do play. Now this year, he's not even performing at a high level. I do think he's better than Kirk Cousins. So I think Carson Wentz has a better chance, to turn his season around more so than Kirk Cousins.
But,
What you think? What you think?
But then I look at all their like the problem their things that they have problem with. I think for Carson Wentz as well that he rushes into he don't take his time into the pressure. If you watch the game against the Rams last week, it was 1st and goal, probably at the 12-yard line. He taking a shot through the end zone, and then boom, it went into an interception. Like, why are you taking a shot on 1st and goal? Like, that's something right there. That's right there. That's the mental issue. That's quarterback developing right there, because in that moment right there, it's 1st and goal at the 12-yard line. You're taking a shot in the end zone, so you're trying to get a quick score. No, you're not Mahomes, and you're not or Lamar Jackson. You're not finna just break it down like that. No, you're Carson Wentz. You're Carson Wentz. You should work your way through the goal line and make it more easier. That's my thing too. I feel like he rushes. He rushed too many. He trying to play so quick, but he be moving so fast and don't realize the problems. He got 4 interceptions on the season. He been sacked 8 times because he's one of them anticipation throwers. Like, he want to throw it when he feel like, hey, I'm about to make this throw. Like Jameson Winston, I want to make sure this throw is on point. He put too much on the throw, but really not focusing to the game. I think for Carson Wentz, he got to slow his game down. He has to let the game come to him, slow his game down. And that was a mental mistake in that interception on 1st and goal. That was a bad play right there. And he just had to slow it down. But over in there, he counted. But but to me though, I'm taking Kirk Cousins. Only I'm taking Cousins because their team is already balanced out. They have a lot of pass catches on their team that they need to get involved. And you already have an elite running back. Like, if I had to choose between Miles Sanders and Dalvin Cook, I would take Cook, because he's like, no disrespect to Sanders, but Cook is the better running back. Like, I think they have a balanced team. They just have to adjust to the season and mood up this shit, like get it together. Excuse me.
Yeah. Now, real quick, Clarence, let's move to our last topic of the day. In case everyone, if they're wondering why we haven't talked about the Thursday night matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's because we're not really interested in watching the Dolphins and the Jaguars tomorrow night. But we will break this game down here, in the last 3 minutes of the show and give y'all our predictions for which team is going to win. Because, Clarence, when I looked at the schedule before the season and I looked at all the games that are going to be played on Thursday night football, this probably was the week where I was the least most interested. I wasn't really interested in watching the Dolphins and the Jags. I got to be honest. So let's talk about this game, these last few minutes of the show. Give me some of your keys to this match between the Dolphins and the Jags.
Come on, Trey. You got to show some excitement in that. This is the battle of the beards, man. This is Gardner Minshew versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. These are 2 players that's fun to watch. Believe it or not, they're fun to watch. I like Gardner Minshew. I'm actually going to be tuned in this game because all the doubters believe that Trevor Lawrence is getting drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew, shut that all up. Nah, man, I'm the quarterback of this face of this franchise. And believe it or not, though, Trey, like, I like Gardner though. I like his style of play. And he's a great young leader for this team. Regardless, we look at that team, they don't got nothing over there. But Gardner Minshew keep them relevant. Not saying he's gonna push them to a playoff. Now, if you push them to a playoff though, Trey, we will have a big topic on that one. I will admit to that one. But Gardner Minshew, he plays with passion, and Doug Marrone, he loved his leadership that he brings to the team. Now, if they start losing bad and stuff, I will still think Gardner should be the quarterback for seasons to come. But for Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's time to bring Tua in. It's time to bring Tua in. Everybody keeps saying, no, he's not healthy, and we don't know. But you have to bring him in some game. Some days, he has to come in. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, in order to keep his job, he got to have a stellar performance against Gardner Minshew. He has to get the team involved, and they have to create a running game.
Yeah. When I look at the keys to this game, when I look at the keys to this game, First of all, I want to say this. Tomorrow night, I will not be watching this game, Clarence. I'm going to be watching Game 4 between the Lakers and the Nuggets. Okay, like I know I picked the Lakers to win in 5, and I think the Lakers are the superior team over the Nuggets. But I'm more interested in watching Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic face off against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'm more interested in seeing that than I am in seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Gardner Minshew. Come on, give me a break. But when it comes to which quarterback in this matchup, do I like better? So far on the season, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's went, 51 of 77, 519 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So we know Ryan Fitzpatrick is hit or miss. Some weeks he's hot and he's, throwing the ball very well and scoring touchdowns. And some weeks he's throwing a lot of interceptions for your team and putting your team in a position to lose games. Gardner Minshew on this season, he is 49 of 65, 512 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's been very impressive so far this season. I think in week 1, he only had like 3 or 4 incompletions. He played great in week 1 against the Colts. I think I'll take Gardner Minshew right now over Ryan Fitzpatrick. Real quick, give me your score of this game. Which team wins? And give me your score.
I got Jacksonville winning this game, man. I got them winning in a little small shootout. I got them winning 35-31.
35-31. Okay, I'm going to roll with the Jacksonville Jaguars to win as well because I believe that Gardner Minshew will make 1 or 2 more plays than Ryan Fitzpatrick. I got Jags 27, Dolphins 24. It'll be close.
Okay.
It'll be close, but I'll take the Jags.
Who wins Game 4 tonight? Who win Game 4 tonight in the NBA fight? NBA Eastern Conference Final.
Celtics win Game 4 tonight. They're going to even this series at 2 games apiece.
I agree.
Celtics was my finals pick to get to the finals from the East. I think the Celtics take care of business tonight and even up this series. We might be looking at a 7-game series, Clarence, in the East. We might be looking at that right now.
Definitely.
Everybody remember, go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_Wakes, also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. We are live here on the Worldwide Sports Network. We'll see you Friday night, 8 p.m., talking all the latest in sports news. Have a great night.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.